Hello guys, it is Amy with Aim to Plan, and I am here with all of my planners getting ready to set up for March. So obviously I have a giant stack of planners here. I'm trying to even get them all in frame. These are all the planners that I have been Frankenplanning into one for January and February. And in March, one of the things that I'm going to be doing is updating my system just a little bit. My Frankenplanner for January and February started to get really big. And so one of the things that I'm going to do is to remove some sections. I'm going to be using the same order for putting the pages into my Frankenplanner. There are two sections at the very beginning, my home section and my chores planner. Those two sections have not been working out for me in January and February. I find that I am not updating them. When I do think about them, it's more so like I am in the moment just kind of like going back and marking something that I've already done rather than planning out something. So I don't feel like it's really working as a planner. It is something that I'm still going to keep. I have it still here. I'm going to reference it and use it like a reference, but I'm not going to force myself into having a planner for it. So just so you can see it, my home section consists of these three books right here, and it's full of notes and things like that, so I can't really flip through all of it, but it's like all notes related to our house. So there are stuff for Sophia. That one I just flipped through is all of Sophia's school notes, and then I have notes about our medical history, just stuff about our family. There are copies of important documents that we have. They're all saved in here. And then this one is one that I could probably flip through. There are the actual budget pages. This is the budget divider from one of the extension packs. And then we have like this stuff, which came from a caregiver pack. Then we have projects, which are some of the things that I want to do in our house, and the projects pages from that home extension binder. Then I have a section that I created that's just beauty, mostly photos of me. And then when I was trying to make a self-care routine, a contacts section, this section came from the wedding planner. It's just a mismatch, like just a mix up of like a bunch of different things. And I've also like got blank paper in here from the actual notebook that I converted into this home binder. So there are notes in here. There's a fun section where I kind of track our movie and TV and things like that. And then a travel section with like just travel planning notes. So those are the three sections. I have a couple of other sections too, but they're in January and February. What I realized is that in January and in February, I was kind of like going through those sections that I kind of like decided to designate for that month. I just pulled out an entire section and decided to try to update it. I realized I wasn't updating them. The sections that I tend to use are the ones that I'm updating regularly anyway. And so what I'm going to do is just move it out of my Frankenplanner, leave it as they are in the three sets of like notebooks, and I'll just use them as I need to. So I'm reverting basically to the system that was already in place. And instead of including it in my Frankenplanner and trying to force myself to update a specific section that specific month, I'll just update whatever section I want to. And so I think it will kind of free me from, just some of the, I guess, the stress that I was feeling related to how I was kind of going about that. So home will be separate, and I will update it as I need to, and it won't go into my Frankenplanner. The other planner that's in here is going to be this one, and this is the actual chores planner. Now in January I did do this, and I actually went ahead and included it in here. So I have my January pages, but you can see, like, if you look at it, it's fairly empty. It's mostly like light writing. I feel like all of these things I could have transferred and moved into a different planner. Like, I mean, it has like two notes, right? And like there are two things written here. So like it's very light on like writing. And so in January, that was what happened. In February, that's what happened. And so I've decided just to go ahead and delete this planner. I'm not going to use a chores planner, a separate chores planner. I am going to take these pages, put them, the news pages, I will probably combine with my personal planner for potentially a like end of the year 2022 flip through of everything. But what I'm going to do with the other pages is just put them back on the shelf for use later. in case I want to like Frankenplan in a dashboard planner somewhere. But what I'm going to do with the things, the tasks that are on here, I'll just put them in my personal catch-all, because I mean, that's really kind of what I was doing anyway, was putting it there plus putting it here. So this one is pretty much leaving my system. So that leaves me with all of these others. And this is what we're going to Frankenplan into my March Frankenplanner. And it's pretty simple. Again, like I have the same order: home, which I just moved out; chores, which I just moved out. And then it goes into Sophia's section, which is the question and answer, then Sophia's memory book. Then it goes into my sections. So it will be my work section, my personal catch-all, my faith, creativity, wellness, food log, planner, and budget. And so that's kind of the order. It's not the order that it is here, but it is the order that I put them in. So that is what we're going to do now. So stick around, we'll get set up. I'll move all this off and we'll bring out the supplies. Okay, so first things first, I like to set up my Frankenplanner with a different cover and discs every month. I am running out of expander discs, so eventually I'm going to have to cycle back through some of the other colors I have. I really have just recently got into expander discs, but I now have a black set of black metal expander discs, a set of rose gold that I am using in February, and then this rainbow set. And that's pretty much it. I have a couple of other like plastic discs, but I actually really don't like using plastic expander discs for like a planner that's going to be on the go with me all the time. So my Frankenplanner lives by my side. Basically at home it sits on this desk, but when I leave the house, the Frankenplanner sits in the car in the passenger seat with me. It goes to work with me. It's everywhere with me. So I want it to be on discs that are pretty durable, and I feel like the metal is a better choice than using plastic. So with that being said, I picked this cover. It says, "You're gonna make it." This is from a very old student planner, and I have multiple versions of this cover just because I ended up buying like a set of 9. And I feel like I must have purchased more than 9 because I feel like I'm still going through these supplies. But this did come from an old teacher, sorry, not a teacher, a student planner with the old color block. And so I purchased it because it had like the rainbow like metal discs, and they were like primary colors. And in fact, one of the colors was like the normal like classic shade of green. It's not even one of these. It's like just like a perfect green, and that color discs has even now not been released separately in any way. So I'm glad I did do that, but now I have all of these supplies, right? So I am going to use this cover. I just feel like March and rainbows, for whatever reason, in my mind, that works for me. So I'm going to use these covers. I'm going to use these expander discs. This is just from like one of the regular boxes, it's a rainbow set, but it's not quite the same shade of green here. But what I'm going to do is, I think, just kind of pick out some colors that make sense with the stripes here. So I'm going to just place a couple of them and kind of see where we are. I don't know that it'll be perfect, right? So, all right, I've got those in there, and I think I can maybe put a purple here. I'll use a pink here. And so now I have a choice here with these two, and I think what I'll do is, I don't want to use the green in the, all right, I think I'm going to use, I don't know, that's really off to me. I don't love that. Do I love that? I think it's okay. I'm not going to be too picky about it. It's going to be here for a month, right? I've never actually used this set of discs, so I might need to there might be some struggle with like how it's turning on with the pages, but I am going to go ahead and set up this planner starting straight into Sophia's planner. I do have like some front pages that I am using right now in February, so I will, when February ends, move them into this planner. You'll see that in the flip throughs, but not in this setup video. So the very first section that is going in here, now that I've deleted home and chores as the first 2 sections, is going to be Sophia's 2 sections. So these are the 2 planners that I use for Sophia. The first one is her question and answer journal. This journal is one where we basically have a list of questions. I'm noticing in March that I need to go ahead and print out the questions because I don't even have them in here. But what I normally do is, I'll show you in my Frankenplanner for February. What we normally have are these questions that I print from a book that I use. I will link that. I've had several people ask me how I got these quotes. I will link the book, and I just print them out on my computer. I did do a little bit of design to get the boxes and the numbers in here, but then I just type them into the boxes, and I just place them over here and then kind of write her answers across the years. Now for the month of February, I finally, I don't know if you can see here at the very top, that I finally decided or got around to dating them. So now I can tell the year that she's answering these questions. So I'm super excited about finally getting a little bit updated on this. And you know, this is why I want it to be Frankenplanned, is so I can update it. But in my Frankenplanner, I do have my divider here for Q&A. So I'm going to stick that in here. Let's see where it should go. It should go at the beginning, right? Actually, no, I need to take these pages off. I'm realizing they're still on here. So I need to take this off, put it in my Frankenplanner, and then I will stick it in there. And I do have a video on how I set this up. It's actually kind of buried in some of my planner therapy videos. So I may create a separate video, like a short video, just to kind of demonstrate how I set this up separately, but I will link the video for how I did it, plus the prompts that I used for that. So that's the Q&A. The second section that goes right after that is Sophia's memory book. Now for Sophia's memory book in January/February, I did decide to only use the teacher layout, but I still have the vertical layout that I was planning to use in here. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, take out these vertical layout pages. One thing that I will note is just for my own, like, looking at it, I looked up the dates for any years that have the same calendar, like the exact same planner could be used. And 2022 and 2033 are the same. So I'm going to save this until 2033, apparently. I'm not really, but just in case, you know, you want to like save up on some of your favorites. They will eventually, every 6 or 11, or, you know, maybe a little bit longer, but normally every 6 or 11 years, the same year will rotate back around. All right, so what I use for Sophia is outdated teacher layout pages, and they look like this. This month, it looks like I have like one continuous month, but sometimes I'll have like this where it's kind of split up like this, and I'll either Tombow them together, or I will just like kind of use that section to kind of scrapbook some memories like for that week that's preceding it. So that is Sophia's memory book. The sections that come right after that are basically all of my sections. So I do start off with work because I feel like work is a good transition kind of section for me. So work lives in this setup right here. A different set of discs and covers. It's basically kind of a mashup of a lot of different stuff, but it is just a random divider that I found, plus this monthly that comes from the student layout, actually the student planner that this cover came from. So I redated this so that way I can use it for just tracking monthly events. And then I have a vertical lined layout, which looks really messy. It's like some of it's upside down. I don't know what's going on there, so I'll have to figure that out, but some of it's upside down. I'll fix it when I move it in just a second. So I used the vertical lined layout. This is one of the old Squad Goals, Squad Life. I don't remember the name, but it's one of the Squad planners, which I absolutely love. It's really cute. It's seasonal. There's some design elements on it. And I like that just because I don't decorate my work planner. So that's what I use for work. It hasn't been the perfect system, but I think I'm just going to keep going with it. I feel like I've already made a couple of changes to my system, so I don't want to keep making more changes, you know. I do have a couple of notes and things in here that I'm not flipping through, but basically they're just like repeated monthly stuff where I pre-planned some of the month before I moved into this system. Oh, I meant to correct some of this, right? So let's see. I think I was meaning to like maybe not redate, but like, because these are September pages, I was probably doing that so I could make a copy of this and like put March over here, but at this point, honestly, I just don't really care. So I'm just going to stick them in there and just use them. I hardly ever reference like the dates. I do need to redate it, but I hardly ever like need to look at like the month and the monthly right here in the corner, especially for my work planner. It's mostly jotting down all the meetings that I have and like tasks that I need to kind of like follow up on. So that is work. Next is my personal catch-all, which lives in this planner. This is, again, a different cover and divider. I pretty much mix it up all the time with that type of thing. And so I have a combination for my work, for my personal planner, the Mickey and Minnie, I don't know which planner it's called, but it's a Mickey and Minnie planner, and it's a vertical that looks like this. And so I use these pages here. And let me pull it all out. So I do use these pages for just my weekly planning. Stick that in there. And I did have like a second part of it, which is this page right here from like, again, a random planner that I have. But what I'm going to do is for personal planning, I just don't use the currently page. And what I've been doing is using this page for Sophia's memory book. So I'm going to go back to her memory book, and I do like hers to be fairly consistent. So since I did it in January and February, I'm going to use this as the back page for March as well. And so that's stuck in there. And I also, for my personal catch-all, use daily pages. And so I have a set of daily pages right here. That's kind of in the front, and I'm going to pull that. I'm going to try to get back into daily planning in March, so I'm really excited about that. Kind of starting to do that at the end of February too, but just moving into the month of March, I feel like there's going to be a lot of stuff happening, so I want to be able to have those pages to use it. And I only pulled, you know, like a random, it looks like maybe 10, but I can always add more. I have plenty of those pages to use. And what I use for daily planning are these sheets right here. And then after this goes into like my specific sections. These specific sections I don't actually touch every day. So I do try to get in them fairly often, at least once a week, but sometimes it could be like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and I'll just kind of go back and update based on like what I have in my catch-all. But I do enjoy kind of splitting up my sections instead of having everything in my catch-all with like very detailed notes. I like to make like larger kind of broad picture kind of notes in my catch-all, and then break down like more specific tasks and to-dos and just notes and things like that in the specific sections. So like, for example, for my faith section in my catch-all, I'll just put church and maybe potentially like the Bible verses that we covered. But in the faith section, that's where I actually take the notes on what we covered in church. So that's kind of the separation that I have. The catch-all does capture most of the things that I'm doing, minus like meals, right? But besides meals, I put everything else in there, like when I have a filming day for social media, all those types of things. But then in the social media section, I'll break down all the tasks. What does filming day look like? Like, it's not just those 2 words. There's lots of other things that are happening. So that's kind of the separation that I have. And so hopefully that helps maybe to understand why I use so many planners. Okay, so with that being said, then I do use a faith planner, and it's really like horizontal pages, outdated horizontal pages that I have stuck in here. This is actually really full, and I should pull this out and start making some notes here. One of my goals was to read through the New Testament, so I need to, I've been really bad about it in February, so I feel like I'm going to be doing double the work in March just because I've been really bad about it. But I use outdated horizontal pages that I'm going to stick in there, and that's pretty much it. Again, like at the front of this, I did print some other pages. Oh, I see some extra pages here. So I need to go ahead and just pull all of these pages and use them. I don't like having like random pages. Okay, so I'm going to pull these out. And like I have study notes and like this principle I found on the internet. If I ever like pull that out to use, I will link it so that way we can all kind of like be able to find it. So I'm going to put this at the beginning of March here. And any pages that I don't use, I pretty much just go from like, it goes from January to February to March. It lives in there, and then I just move it forward in time as I need to. The next section is my creativity journal. So what I use here is basically, again, like random stuff that I have in my stash, but I use a random divider. And then I have just like coloring pages. So I do have a set of coloring pages from a book that I purchased a long time ago. I will link this, but it's Inspired to Grace. They gave me I have the actual book, which was an 8.5 by 11, but they also gave me a link to the free printable, and those printables I resized down to classic size and stuck in here. So that's what those are. And I don't think I'm going to use those many pages, so I just pulled out a random set of pages. I have not been doing this either, so like goal is to try to maybe get back into some more creativity type stuff, coloring and like doodling and hand lettering, that kind of thing. So that's the goal for March. But anyway, that's creativity. I'm also realizing I didn't put any of the dividers. I'll have to come back and do that. So then the next section right after that is going to be my wellness section. Like I had a brain fart for just a second there. So my wellness section is something that lives in this setup. Again, like customized divider, cover, and these metal white discs. This cover, by the way, my sister made for me. She is very crafty, and so she used one of the snap-on covers and kind of mod podged the Teresa Collins tissue paper from like a super old box that came out a long time ago. And she just kind of like mod podged it in there. I'm missing a divider. No, here it is. So what I do for wellness is, I have like maybe one more month, I think. I have, for the past couple of months, used an undated like wellness extension pack. And the reason for that is like these pages are undated, but then it has like some interesting different pages, like the self-care activities, self-affirmation, like a check-in, and just like a collection of 8. And then this page. Now, gotta be honest, I have not been doing these pages. So I think once I finish the next like March and April, I'll probably just get rid of my wellness. I feel like wellness, food log, it's really meant all to be wellness, but here I was separating wellness into like more my mental wellness. And then my food log is mostly like physical health. Like, so I don't really exercise, but if I did, I would track it there plus my food log. But I'm finding that I'm using less of this one, the mental wellness one, which is really bad. I know it's really bad, but I'm not using it as much. And so, you know, I need to revisit that. So this will be maybe a change that I make in the next couple of months. But then right after that, what I use is going to be my food log. And it sits in the same planner just because I use basically the second half of the undated extension pack. So the wellness extension pack has those first few pages, and then it breaks down into these pages. And I'm just going to use them. Like, so I'll use part of them, right? So those pages right there. And it ends on this routine, which I think is totally fine. Sometimes with Frankenplanning, you end up with like random bits and pieces, right? So there are a couple of other pages here that are like routine for the week, and then it has on my mind how I added to my physical wellness and my mental wellness, and then the back page. So that I'm going to put in the wellness section. So it goes right here. And then again, food log will be the next section. And what I need is at least one page here, this page, to make a monthly, because I do use the monthly. I'll need to redate this, and then I'll probably not even tape it together, but like they should be taped together, and it just goes right into this. And then I have the pages to kind of track my food log. Now for this wellness layout, I'm just trying to use them up, but basically I just ignore this and I just log my food. I do typically eat 4 times a day. So it's a breakfast, a lunch, like an afternoon snack, and then dinner. And so I just track them in those 4 boxes pretty much. And then I have all of these extra pages, not quite sure why, but they do need to go back in here. So I'm gonna stick this back in here somewhere. It's starting to get a little bit messy. I'm actually gonna stick this way in the back. Like there's a little bit of an issue with order here, and like how the pages kind of like flowed out, or like, and I probably pulled or like didn't use some pages from January, and so there's just random pages that get collected. At some point, I'm going to go through and clean some of those things up. Like I mentioned at the very beginning, how I'm breaking down the chores planner. What I do is if I don't use the pages, I do eventually like break them off the discs. I like to store my unused pages separately from like planners that are in use. So eventually I'll clean up those planners. All right, after this comes my last 2 sections, and that's going to be my planner or my social media section. And what I have here is a cover that I made myself. Right behind it is a like happy planner cover, and then again like random discs. And then this planner is a mix. It's mostly social media, but I also like track planner related things. So example, like when Happy Planner had their release in February, I tracked those types of things. When they had their lives, when I have Planners Anonymous lives, those types of things. And so this divider is just a random divider that I picked out. I have this in here, again, just to have the monthly. I feel like it's needed, you know. And then what I have in here is I switched this because I hauled recently the Jungle Vibes planner, and so I have now the Jungle Vibes planner in here, but I have been using January and February a color block layout, or like some variation of color block, and so I will continue doing that for my social media / planner. And so these color block pages are in here now. And then the last section is my budget. So budget, I use a budget planner. They are undated, so I have no idea where I'm supposed to be. So this is the budget planner that I use. It's actually an older version. It's not the new version that's a little bit more neutral. This one's a little bit more rainbow in color, but I think it's totally fine for using it. And I do use, so far in the last couple of months, I've really only been using like a few of these pages. I don't do it by week. I just write until the end and then move to the next page, because I do my budgeting like by the month, and so I don't necessarily need it broken down week by week. But so I just use these pages. I have not yet used these pages or these pages. So again, like these pages, since I'm Frankenplanning, and I just don't use these pages. As the month ends, I just kind of pull these pages out off the discs since I didn't use them and stick them in a separate spot. So I've had someone ask me to like kind of walk through my organizational system, and I definitely plan to do that. I feel like I set things up a little bit differently than maybe some other people, and it makes sense to me. It might not be something that works for you, but I definitely want to try to do that. But that is it. The last thing for me to do is to move over my tabs from my February Frankenplanner into this one. So let me go ahead and grab all of those. So I have my dividers here. These are ones that I made myself. I will link that video so you can see it. With removing these, the first couple of sections, it's like really super nice. I can like, it's a little difficult to flip right this second, but it's normally very flippable, and I'm excited about it. I'm so excited. Okay, so I skipped a section. Where's Sophia's section? Okay, so Sophia's section, let me just put work in here since I took the effort to get here. So I'm going to put in work. Then I have Sophia's section. Which we'll put in here. I do flip throughs of my planners once they are complete for the month, and so if you're interested in seeing like I kind of explained some of these sections, but if you want to see how all of these sections kind of work together, and what I do for these sections, then watch the flip throughs, the after the pin flip throughs. I do kind of show you everything, plus like you can kind of see how I make it all work for me. And some of them, like I said, are lighter, so I need to maybe consider combining them in the future. So that's just a thought. I mean, I don't want to do extra work. That's not the goal. I don't want to decorate a page just to decorate a page. That's fun sometimes, but you know, when it's a busy month like I'm anticipating March to be, I just don't have the time for that. So I need to be a little bit smarter with my time, basically. All right, so budget. Actually, budget needs to go on the weekly page. So on this section. Okay, so that is all. I do have my tabs in here, and one thing that I didn't point out yet is that I have set up my planners so that way I can flip down and they flow in this order, and I can go down. I can use the side tabs and the top tabs. I'm now at the point, the third month in, where I can like kind of by feel know exactly where I am going. I don't even need the labels anymore, but I do have it labeled. These are all March tabs, but they flow down continuously. That's in my setup video for 2022, and I just love it. And now with removing those two sections, I am going to add in a couple of other things at the very beginning of the planner, but now it's like a reasonable size. My Frankenplanner for February is like chunky to the point where it's like busting out of the expander discs. So that's why I had to kind of reevaluate my system. But this is my setup video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. And until the next video, bye guys.